Alright, these are my best photos from 2022, and I'm just going to go through them. They're not ranked in any order of best to worst. It's just chronological, January to December. And so with that, let's just jump right into it. So my first photos of the year from 2022 are from a trip to Lake Tahoe in May. So really didn't get out a ton in the beginning of the year. But this first one, you can see, is showing the shoreline, and I love the difference in colors that you can see, the dark blue to the lighter blue, then to the trees. There's another angle of that one as well here, a little bit different. And then next, from Lake Tahoe, we actually went down to Yosemite. So it was a big road trip. We went to Lake Tahoe first, stayed there, and then went to Yosemite. And this is the classic shot of tunnel view. We hiked up to a little place just over tunnel view called Artist Point. It's a little less busy. It's on the trail, so there's not as many people there. But we were there for the sunset, and we got this awesome panoramic. It wasn't perfectly crisp, but I love the light you can see on the mountain. Just that kind of glow from the sun on the right over Bridal Falls a little bit. And then I included as well another panoramic from tunnel view, and this one is actually an iPhone shot. But I include this one because, one, the colors are cool. I love that you can see where we were, but the trail is what I like about this one. This is where we were at when we took the picture, and we also encountered a bear on this trail. So literally right behind us before we set up and took the picture, we heard some crunching, bear came down, went right across the trail in front of us, and then down the other side. And so this one's a good just memory of that encounter with the bear, which was really cool. Alright, next is another Yosemite picture, and this is tunnel view, but this is just a vertical shot. I love the trees in the foreground and the detail on the tree in the lower right. Again, these ones weren't as crisp as I wish they were, but I like them. The next day in Yosemite, we did a big long hike. We hiked 15 miles. We started early in the morning. We went to Vernal Falls first, up the Mist Trail, then Nevada Falls, and then all the way across the ridge up to Glacier Point and back down. And I got so many pictures and had a lot to edit and go through, and it was quite the exhausting hike, but it was really cool. And this first one is from that hike, and it's kind of a unique angle of Yosemite Falls, but shot through two trees. And so I love how the trees frame the falls. They're on the sides of it, and then there in the middle, you can see Yosemite Falls. Next is also from that same hike, so a little further along. It's just the river where we stopped to take a little bit of a break. But I love this composition here with the river going up, the trees on the side, and kind of the leading lines toward this center almost of that photo. Really liked the composition there. I should have taken a little more time and done a long exposure there, but I was exhausted from hiking at that point, but still very happy with the result. Okay, next is also from that same hike. Once we finally did get to Glacier Point, got to take a lot of iconic shots of Half Dome, the ones that you see photos of all the time. And so this is my first Half Dome shot that I wanted to include in my best photos of 2022. It's a vertical shot. It's pretty much Half Dome right in the center, but I love the trees at the bottom and just the overall look of this one. Next is another shot of Glacier Point. with Half Dome on the right. You can see the canyon on the left. I love the trees and bushes in the foreground, and then the shadows of the canyon in this one gives it a lot of depth, I think. And for a photo taken in the bright, sunlight of day, I think it really did a good job of capturing just how beautiful Glacier Point really is. Okay, next one. This is probably my favorite photo from Yosemite. I got so many, but this one I just love the layers and the depth. So I'll show it to you now. But it's got shadows on the bottom as your kind of first foreground element that you see, and then it kind of transitions into the hills and the trees on the ridge, and then behind that you have the view from Glacier Point of Half Dome, the canyon, and some pretty clouds. And I just love the layering in this one. So probably my favorite shot I got in Yosemite. A little bit different than the popular ones too. I think that might also be part of why I like it so much. Okay, next is another from that same hike, and this is, I did not get very many shots of Yosemite Falls itself, surprisingly. And so this is one of the ones I did get that I liked, and it was from our hike. We were on kind of the opposite side of the valley, up on the ridge hiking, and so we could look across the canyon or across the valley and see Yosemite Falls. The sun had started to set at this point, and so it was kind of all in the shade, but I love in this photo you get the light kind of creeping over onto the waterfall, and I think it made it look really pretty. Okay. There are two more from this Yosemite hike. So after all the hiking, as we were going back down the 4-mile trail towards the valley, the sun was setting, as I mentioned, and it started to create these beautiful rays coming over kind of El Cap and into the valley. And so there's a vertical shot here where you can see those rays as the sun is setting, and I love that the river in the valley is lit up and you can kind of see it there. And then next is just a horizontal shot of that same scene. Again, I love the different layers that the light rays created. Okay, from there we ended up, after our stay in Yosemite and a couple days there, going back to Lake Tahoe before returning home. So I was able to get a few more shots, and I had more time the second time we were there. The first time it was like our first day there after the long road trip, but this second time we had 2 days to really spend exploring, got to fly the drone around, and so these next two shots are from Lake Tahoe. They're both drone shots, and I really loved the way they turned out. So this first one here is more on the northern side of Lake Tahoe. But I just love the road, the mountain coming down with the green trees, contrasting the blue water, and then it's a little hard to see, but in the bottom right corner there's a red truck, and I love that red truck contrasting too with the green trees. I just love the composition of this one. So that was a drone shot. And then a little later that same day, as it was a little more towards golden hour, we spent some time near Bonsai Rock flying the drone around. Got some incredible video there. But this shot was right above Bonsai Rock, just looking down on the shallow water, and you can see how clear that water was and how pretty it was. But I loved just the colors, the straight down look in this one with the water crashing on the rocks. It's just really pretty. Okay, next, a little later, fast forward to July, we went camping at Currant Creek in Utah, and I was able to throw the drone up there for a little bit and fly it. Later found out that I was not supposed to. I didn't see any signs, but only flew it once, brought it back down after I was told not to, but I did get 2 good shots that I wanted to include. I felt like they were pretty good. So this first one here is a vertical panoramic taken with my drone. And you can see the creek, the lake, and just the hills and the sky. Then this next one is another panoramic of Currant Creek as the sun is setting. So you get a lot of pretty bright colors here. You get the oranges where the sun is setting, the bright blues on the lake and in the sky. And I thought it was pretty cool. The boat dock was kind of in the left of the panoramic, and I think just made for a great shot of where we were camping. Okay, now fast forward to October. I really wanted to get out and take some pictures of fall colors, and there was even a photo contest for my work. I wanted to get some good fall shots. I knew here in Utah we had a lot of good places we could go, so looked up some options and ultimately decided on the Alpine loop. And so we drove that loop, and it was packed. It was so busy. It was hard to get out and take pictures, but near the top we did get out. I launched the drone, and it just happened to be right at sunset, and it was perfect. I was hoping for a lot of like the reds and oranges and yellows, and didn't get as many of like those reds and oranges, but there were a lot of like greens and yellows, and it was still really pretty. So here's the first one. It's a vertical panoramic just of the colors and the peak with the clouds kind of lit up by the sunset behind them. And I thought that one just turned out awesome. And then here is another one, which is the horizontal. Lots of bright colors in the trees. The clouds, again, lit up by the sunset, I think make it really pretty. Okay, then in November, we decided to go down to southern Utah to visit Bryce Canyon. I really wanted to see it. I hadn't been, but I wanted to see it with snow. I thought the contrasting bright oranges of the hoodoos of the canyon with the white snow would just be really pretty, and it was. It was absolutely stunning. I think everyone should visit in winter to see just how pretty it is. So this first one is from Red Canyon, which is just outside of Bryce Canyon. You can hike all around, you can bring your dogs there, but just as pretty. Lots of, really orange rock and hoodoos. And so this was just a tree as we were hiking around that I snapped a picture of. But I love like the green of the tree, the orange rocks, the blue sky, and you'll kind of see that in all of these, Bryce Canyon photos. So this next one is another Red Canyon. I was able to fly my drone because Red Canyon is not in the national park, so I can fly my drone there. And so this one was a vertical panoramic of just the road, but I love how you can see all the snow and then the like super orange hills. Thought it turned out great. Okay, this next one is another Red Canyon shot, and as we were hiking around, we hiked up a small little trail to get a shot of, they have these rock tunnels, they're like arches over the road that you drive your car through, and so we were hiking just near those, but I was able to kind of peek through some trees with my camera, shoot between them, and get a shot of Red Canyon and some of the hoodoos. And I love this shot because it looks like, it makes you feel like you're there looking through the trees. Okay, this next one is another Red Canyon. And you can see the sun kind of peeking through this tree. It's from the same hike, but I really liked the sun and the tree on the hill with the shadows it was casting. I thought it made for a really good shot. Okay, my next ones are from Bryce Canyon inside the national park. And so this first one is a sunset, and it was a panoramic, and I just love the colors, the canyon, the hoodoos. I think it turned out really great. This next one is another shot of the hoodoos at sunset, but I love the different layers. You can see just all the different shapes of the hoodoos and how it's creating kind of this depth of a layer of hoodoos, some shadows, a layer of hoodoos, then some shadows, and it just seems like there's more and more levels going back. And then there's another one here, pretty similar, but vertical. Okay, and then one more of the hoodoos at sunset. Similar shot, but I love here as the sun had gotten a little lower, you can kind of see the colors along the horizon. And then here is a panoramic of that sunset as well. Okay, at that same sunset site, I did take one more. I angled my camera to the side a little bit where you could see more of the sky and the clouds and the colors in them. And so this one is really pretty because it's just showing that sky with those orange hoodoos that have snow on them. Okay, two more shots. So the second to last one is back in Red Canyon, again outside of Bryce Canyon National Park. But one of the best things about southern Utah is there's not very much light pollution and it's very dry. So it's ideal for seeing the stars, for stargazing. So I knew I wanted to get some shots of the stars. And so we went back to Red Canyon because we had already hiked around there the day before. And so we knew the area, we knew kind of, the trails. And so I was hoping to get a shot with some hoodoos and then the Milky Way, but I couldn't find a composition at night that I really loved with the hoodoos in front of the Milky Way. But instead I got this shot with the tree, the Milky Way, and you can just see how many stars. It was absolutely beautiful. All right, my last shot of the year that I wanted to include was back in Bryce Canyon the next day. It was a little sunnier when we were there, kind of midday, so hard to get a perfect shot, but I did get this one of Thor's hammer that I really liked. You can see kind of the green hills and the trees behind the hoodoos in the background, but in the forefront you have Thor's hammer, the hoodoo with the snow and the orange, and I just love, makes you feel like you're there looking at it. So those are my best photos of 2022. Thanks for watching.